everybody, and welcome back to the Hangout Spot, where you already know it's Real Talk Sports Talk, live from my man cave. It's your boy Johnny, and we are going to talk boxing. But before we do that, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Hangout Spot. This is where it's at. You already know how we do. Lots of cool content coming in the future. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you're along for the ride, but more importantly, make sure you spread the word. In order to keep this train running, we're going to need more and more passengers. But for the ones that are already on board, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you. This is why I do this, to provide the best content that I could possibly provide. Hopefully you'll enjoy it and you continue to stay on board. But now, let's talk boxing. Because like I said, there's a lot of fights going on this week, man. And you know how we do here. When there's fights, there's excitement. The world is always a much better place when there is boxing going on. I could watch boxing every single day, man, and I'm not even exaggerating. And this week, we pretty much got boxing every day. I mean, we got boxing on Thursday on DAZN. We got boxing on Friday. Pro Box TV is taking their show out on the road to Washington, D.C. A title fight as the headliner. We'll get into that in a second. And then obviously we got Saturday night. Two separate cards. One on DAZN with a great, much anticipated fight between Juan Francisco Estrada against one of the best pound for pound fighters right now, Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Again, that is a unification fight for the super flyweight titles, much anticipated. And then last but not least, in Miami, Florida, we got Teofimo Lopez, the Takeover. He will be headlining and defending his 140-pound title against a tough competitor, Steve Claggett, a Canadian guy, a lot of experience. Yours truly will be out in Miami, live and direct to witness this live. I can't wait. We'll get into that in a second. But let's just take a step back because, like I said, Friday, Pro Box TV, notorious for doing their thing every other Wednesday. And kudos to Pro Box TV because they've established a platform where they're getting a lot more traction when it comes to the true hardcore boxing fans. And what they do, their theme is they put on fights between guys that are going to put on exciting performances, meaning action-packed fights, guys that are going to want to come to fight. They're not getting boring guys in there. And if they do happen to get a guy who fights on the card that puts up a boring performance, they're not inviting him back. So there's no contracts there. They're bringing fighters along, that want to fight on their platform, that meet their criteria. And kudos to my boy Ness from the Boxing Voice. Today, this morning on this show, phenomenal interview with the head of Pro Box. His name is Gary Jonas. The guy is a sharp guy with a vision and an outlook that I thought was very, very interesting for Pro Box and their future. I mean, they're looking at expanding. Obviously, right now, they're not putting up championship fights. In fact, this Friday is their first championship fight in DC. We'll go over that in a second. But they're looking at potentially expanding, getting bigger. And just hearing his outlook and his vision, I thought it was super interesting. He also gave a very interesting take on this whole Turki Al-Sheikh, buying out all these different companies to consolidate boxing into one. Great perspective. A lot of the things that he said did shock me a bit, not in a bad way, but again, from his point of view, it was very, very interesting. Stuff like that I love to hear. So again, kudos to the Boxing Voice, my boy Ness. If you did not check out the live show, make sure you check out the recording on YouTube. So since we are on the topic of Pro Box, let's talk about their card on Friday, because this is the first time that they actually take Pro Box out on the road. They have a headquarters here in Florida, in Plant City, Florida, where they put on their fights bi-weekly, every other Wednesday. This is probably the first time that they've ever fought outside of Plant City. This one's going to be in Washington, D.C. on a Friday night, and it's the first time that we have a championship fight headlining on Pro Box because they don't do championship fights yet. And this one is going to be a goodie, man. You got Lamont Roach Jr., fresh off of his victory, split decision victory to win the WBA super featherweight title from Hector Luis Garcia. He is 24-1, 9 knockouts. Lamont Roach is a slick fighter, a mover, Very, very good speed, very good ring IQ. He's fighting a tough guy, undefeated. Irishman, obviously from Ireland, and we know those guys are tough. Feargal McCrory. He is 16-0 with 8 knockouts, and I think this one is going to be a very good fight because this kid is tough and he's going to come to fight and he's going to be aggressive. So it'll be interesting to see how these styles contrast against each other. And again, kudos to ProBox for finally putting together their first championship fight. Hopefully this is the first of many as they continue their expansion. But a solid card, and a good entryway into Saturday. Saturday is going to be popping. 2 separate cards. I hate that sometimes, especially this week, because I'm actually going to be live and direct in Miami for the Teofimo Claggett fight. So I'm not going to probably be able to see the fight that I've been looking forward to for months and months. And this fight has been talked about, and this one is going to be a barn burner. Juan Francisco Estrada, Gallo Estrada, who is the WBC Super Flyweight Champion, best known for his trilogy against Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, 3 action-packed fights, razor-thin fights that he got the best of as far as decisions, fights that I probably thought, especially the second and third, could have went to Chocolatito. The first one definitely won by Estrada. Nonetheless, man, wars. These are fights where these 2 guys fought in the center of the ring and they threw thousands of punches, man. Anyway, he is going up against in a unification bout against one of the best fighters right now in the world, pound for pound, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, one of my favorite fighters to watch. He's 19-0, 12 knockouts. He has the IBF and WBO portion of the Super Flyweight Championships pretty much because he beat Sonny Edwards the last time out in impressive fashion. That was a highly anticipated matchup. Sonny Edwards came into that fight as a champion, 20-0 at the time, just 4 knockouts. Sonny Edwards is not a knockout type puncher. He is a boxer, mover, counter puncher, relies on a lot of speed, very flamboyant, talks a big game, but can back it up. And he fought one hell of a fight. That fight was one of the best fights I've seen all year. Fight of the year candidate. And it ends because Jesse Bam Rodriguez broke him down, man. That's the type of fighter Bam Rodriguez is. In fact, Sonny Edwards was knocked down multiple times before the end of the 8th round, but he never came back out for the 9th round. His corner wisely stops the fight. He was taking a lot of punishment leading up to that. And like I said, Bam Rodriguez is a special talent. He is moving up. You know, since turning pro, he has moved and he has dominated multiple weight classes. And, you know, he's the complete package. I mean, he is, you know, he's a very, very compact, technically sound, fundamentally sound fighter. Good, you know, good defense with his guard up. He provides a lot of angles and punches out of those angles, which I think is extremely special. He's sharp. He's accurate. And he doesn't waste punches. I mean, he makes the most out of his shots. He looks for openings, and more than likely, he's going to be able to hit that opening because he's just that good and he's that sharp. Great counterpuncher as well. I mean, the total package. And Gallo Estrada, like I said, your typical skillful Mexican fighter who's going to come forward, likes to fight, can probably box a lot more than he shows, but these guys, they like to fight, especially in the center of the ring. He throws punches and bunches, mixes up his attack. You're going to get shots to the head. You're going to get shots to the body. You know, tremendous stamina. And if you don't believe me, check out those fights against Chocolatito. When you got that type of volume going back and forth with 12 rounds, your stamina cannot be questioned. The style of these 2 fighters is what's going to make this a very, very special fight because, you know, I don't think that Bam Rodriguez is going to want to fight a phone booth type fight in the center of the ring. He's not really a volume puncher like Estrada, and Estrada's probably going to try to push the action and make him fight his fight. I think Bam Rodriguez is a little bit too smart for that. So this is one, like I said, that I'm not going to be watching, but I will have my ears out. I got people that are going to keep me looped in on what's happening while I'm at the fight. But at the end of the day, I'm going to pick Bam Rodriguez to win this fight because I just think he's just a special talent. And like I said, I have him on my top 10 pound for pound. And if you're a great pound for pound fighter, these are the type of fights that you not only take, but you go out there and win. Now, there's no shame, believe trust me when I tell you, there's no shame if he loses this fight, because Gallo Estrada, I mean, he's on his way to a Hall of Fame, career. I mean, he can probably arguably quit right now and be a Hall of Famer. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think Bam Rodriguez is just a special talent. And I think his technical skills, his intelligence, and his footwork is going to be a little bit too much of a problem. I don't see him stopping Gallo Estrada. I see him winning a close unanimous decision or maybe even a majority decision. Either way, that's my pick on that. Sonny Edwards, like I just mentioned before, he's actually fighting in the co-main event. This is his first fight back, returning from that Bam Rodriguez loss. And he's fighting against a tough guy, Adrian Curiel, who is 24 and 5-1 draw, 5 knockouts. I think that this is the perfect comeback fight for Sonny Edwards, a fight that he should win and look good in doing so, which will potentially set him up for another future title shot down the road. Sonny Edwards is a very skillful fighter himself. I definitely see him winning a title again. It's just a matter of him building himself back up, because trust me when I tell you, that was a tough and demoralizing and brutalizing loss that he took in the hands of Bam Rodriguez. But then we got Miami, like I said, the main event. Teofimo Lopez, the takeover, the showman. But make no mistake about it, he can fight. Teofimo Lopez, when he's focused, he's a superstar. He can pretty much do it all. But again, that's when he's focused and when he's challenged, because I think that Teofimo is at his best when his back is up against the wall. When people don't think he can win a fight, that's when he comes out and he fights his best. He's fighting against a guy that he should beat. Tough guy, Steve Claggett. He's a Canadian. He's 38-7, 26 knockouts. He can swat. He has experience. And he's also won 8 fights in a row. So he's coming in with a little bit of a hot streak. I did some film study on him. He's going to come to win. He is a rugged type of fighter, a phone booth type of fighter. Fights high guard the entire fight and just relies on close quarters and intensive body and head attack, trying to counter what you give him, smothering you, putting that pressure on you both physically and mentally. He kind of reminds me a bit of middleweight Liam Beefy Smith. Same type of same type of styles, in my opinion. Guard up, can be very, very sharp, especially to the body. And he's going to come to fight. But again, there's levels for a reason. Teofimo is at this level. Teofimo is an A-level fighter, whether you like him or not. Steve Claggett is more of a C-level fighter. So on paper, this is a fight that Teofimo should win fairly easy. That being said, will it be easy? Because again, these are the things that worry me about Teofimo. With him, I think it's all mental. If it's not issues outside of the ring, it's how he sees an opponent. And again, I don't think, I could be wrong, but this is just from observation. I think he feels like, or I think he will feel like going into this fight that this should be fairly easy. He's going to want to go out there and finish in spectacular fashion. And that's where fighters like him has a tendency to lose concentration and make mistakes. And I just hope that he doesn't take Claggett lightly. He should go out there and win this fight fairly easy. Let's not forget, he's coming off a very lackluster performance against Jermaine Ortiz. A lot of people question if he even won that fight. I don't know. I mean, I kind of look at that fight as a difficult one to score because Jermaine Ortiz, in my opinion, he boxed well. But I wouldn't necessarily say he came in there to win that fight. And it's tough. It's tough to fight a guy that you're chasing down that realistically doesn't want to engage and fight with you. And if there's one knock that I have against Teofimo, it's his lack in ability to cut off the ring. And I think it's because he doesn't care to do so. And he said that on interviews where he doesn't care about cutting off the ring. He just wants to come forward and he wants to hurt his opponent. He's quick, he's explosive, he's powerful, he can punch and hurt you with either hand. His ring IQ, bar none, is one of the best in boxing. And if you don't think that Teofimo can box and you think he's just a puncher, then go out there and watch the Vasily Lomachenko fight, because that was a fight that many people thought that he was going to lose. Or if he had a chance to win, it would be only by knockout. but he outboxed Lomachenko, especially in the first half of that fight. And that's a fight, like I said, that a lot of people didn't see him winning. A fight that he went out and probably performed the best that he ever has in his career. If not the best, the second best. Another fight, Josh Taylor. A lot of people didn't think that he would beat Josh Taylor, but he was calling out Josh Taylor for a couple of years, him and his dad. And Josh Taylor, arguably at one point, was the best 140-pounder, the undisputed champion, and he didn't lose those belts to anybody. They were basically all relinquished. So when he fought Josh Taylor, his claim was, I am fighting the best 140-pounder. And he went out there when people didn't think that he was going to win, and he dominated Josh Taylor. So again, when his back is up against the wall and you don't think that he has a chance, that's when he fights his best. When you think he's going to just mow over an opponent, George Kambosos, which I thought he fought the total wrong fight against, fought more with rage, allowed Kambosos to get in his head, allowed Kambosos actually got into his dad's head. You could tell his dad said it before the fight, we want to go in there and knock this guy out, and they went out there, Tio went out there and tried to do that from the get-go. What happened? He made a mistake. Got put down in the first round. Ended up losing a fight to a guy that, in my opinion, he had no business losing against. He is light years better than Kambosos. In fact, if they fought a second time, make no mistake about it, I think he washes Kambosos. But that is a loss on his record. And let's not forget, he also fought with an ailment that day, with a health ailment. So, there's a lot to like about Tio, but then you see the Sandor Martin fight. Did he take Sandor lightly? Maybe. Again, Jermaine Ortiz. So he has to go out there and perform in spectacular fashion so that people can start calling him, again, one of the superstars of the sports. I think there's some doubts because of some inconsistencies that he has, but I think that he will finish this fight in spectacular fashion. I think that he will win this fight by knockout, and then he will probably, stand up there and call out Terence Crawford again, because it seems like that's the fight that he wants, and a lot of people are calling him crazy. But at the end of the day, like I said, people thought he was crazy when he called out Lomachenko. 16 fights in, so young, doesn't have the experience, beats him. Josh Taylor, he's much bigger, much more skillful. No way Tio wins that fight. Dominates him. I'm not saying he'll beat Crawford, because I don't think that'll happen. Crawford is a different animal. But hey, give him a shot. If that's what he wants to make that big fight, I respect him. I mean, he's trying to fight for legacy at the end of the day. And I like those type of fighters, those throwback type of fighters. A lot of people don't like Tio. I happen to think he's very entertaining, and I'm a big fan of his. So let's see what happens. At the end of the day, though, they need, and when I say they, the Tank Davis, the Devin Haney's, the Shakur Stevensons, the Teofimos, they need to start getting it on amongst each other and fighting each other. The same way Sugar Ray, Duran, Hearns, Hagler, they all fought, right? That foursome where people to this day, refer to them when they refer to the golden age of boxing because they fought for legacy. These guys have that ability to do that if they fight each other. And I'm not talking about Twitter, because it seems that's the only place they want to fight each other, on Twitter. They got to fight in the ring. That's what I would prefer to see, Tio get one of those fights instead of trying to chase, a Terence Crawford fight, which I don't even think happens. I mean, Crawford is fighting at 154 coming up in August. I don't think he wants any Teofimo fight. I don't think that does anything for him. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a really, really good fight for Tio. You got Robeisy Ramirez in the co-main event. Cuban gold medalist, best known for beating Shakur Stevenson in the finals by split decision. He's the former featherweight champion coming off that loss against Rafael Espinoza. Robeisy is looking to get that rematch. So he's got to look good in this fight. He's fighting a guy named Brandon Benitez, 21-2, 9 KOs. But again, Brandon Benitez is coming in with a hot streak. He's won 7 fights in a row. But Robeisy Ramirez is one of the better fighters in the world, technically. So I expect him to win this fight. I expect him to win it in grand fashion, probably by stoppage. And they've already started to mention that him getting that rematch against Rafael Espinoza. And I think that first fight was one hell of an experience for Robeisy. A lot of people are saying that he might have took Espinoza lightly. Maybe. But at the end of the day, you can't deny what Rafael Espinoza is as a fighter. He's 6 feet tall as a featherweight, which is absolutely insane. He has tremendous reach. He can box, but he can also fight you on the inside. And He took it to Robeisy Ramirez in that last fight. But Robeisy Ramirez, let's not forget, dropped him at the end of that fight. So what happens if that fight would have went on a couple more rounds? Who knows? More than likely, Robeisy would have been able to stop him. So I think the rematch will be fire. I expect that to happen next because I do have Robeisy winning this fight fairly easy. And then you got Emiliano Vargas, the son of the great, legendary, ferocious Fernando Vargas. He's being groomed by Top Rank as that next Mexican superstar like Oscar De La Hoya. Young guy, he's fast. He has power. He's good looking. He's fighting against a guy that he should knock out fairly easy. You got Nico Ali Walsh also on the undercard. He is the grandson of the great Muhammad Ali. He's 9-1, 5 KOs. In fact, that one loss came against the guy that he's fighting. This is a rematch. Sona Akali, who is also 9-1, but he has 4 knockouts. Say what you want about Nico Ali Walsh, but I mean, he's a good kid. He's trying, and I still think, regardless of his skill level at this point in his career, he has time to grow, and I think he's good for the sport as well. So Saturday is going to be action-packed, man. It really is. And, I'm just proud and glad to be a boxing fan. I'm proud to come out here and just give you this content and show my passion and talk about the sport that I love. This is what boxing should be about every single week. I mean, different cards, guys that are looking at unified titles like Gallo Estrada and Bam Rodriguez, Teofimo Lopez looking to take that next step into superstardom on a big Top Rank stage. I mean, this is what it's all about, man. Pro Box, doing their thing on a Friday night. You got DAZN. Like I said, I wasn't kidding, man. We got fights every single day, and I am totally jacked up looking forward to it. But anyhow, let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Let me know what fights you are looking forward to the most this weekend. And more importantly, throw some predictions out there, man. What do you expect to see? Do you expect the favorites to win? Do you expect some upsets? What about that Gallo Bam fight? I would love to hear your thoughts about that in the comment section. And as always, like I said earlier, if you haven't done it already, I don't know what you're waiting for. Smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button. This is how we do it up here at the Hangout Spot, man. Come and support your boy. Come see me on a regular. Lots of cool content coming up in the future. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you're along for the ride. But as always, I appreciate the love and I appreciate the support. This is your boy Johnny, signing out from the Hangout Spot, and I'll talk to you soon.